Welcome to the Serpentine Creative Channel. I'm your host, Stella Williams, and you're watching AuthorTalk. Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing something a little different. I am going to be discussing Love is Blind, the new Netflix dating show that is causing quite the stir. I know what you're thinking. This is not an entertainment channel. This is not a gossip channel. You want to talk about books. But look, I'm a romance author. I love all things romance. And the storyline and everything from Love is Blind is straight out of a romance novel, y'all. I'm just saying. So I'm going to talk about it because I watched the whole show. And I know there's plenty of videos about this show, lots of commentary and stuff out there. I'm doing this now because I really wanted to wait and give everyone time to catch up, and that way I could talk about it with spoilers and not feel guilty about it, because if you follow my channel, you know I am so against spoilers. But without further ado, this is my critique of Love is Blind from the perspective of a romance author. And some of it you might just be like, well, that's just a normal perspective. But hey, this is what I'm giving you guys this week. Um, so, first, let's talk about the premise of the show. So, it's basically they got 30 guys and 30 girls, or was it 15 girls? Anyway, 30 people dating blindly. And this is all to answer that age-old question of if love is truly blind. And there's a lot of ways in which the romance genre has taken on this concept of love being blind. You know, Beauty and the Beast. Come on now. And as problematic as that story was in general. But we have lots of tropes involving that love is blind. It shouldn't be about the looks of the person, but their personality and how well you get along with them. So this show is the real life interpretation, the real life social experiment that romance writers have been trying to recreate in the fiction world forever. So that's why it was so interesting for me as a romance author, because it was like, oh, now it's like really like this is the chance for people to see in real life what romance writers kind of go through in their head when they're planning out their romances. Because honestly, some of the stuff you just can't really make it up. I'm just saying. With that being said, so they were put in these pods with like a wall between them, and they just spent days talking. And the romance novel equivalent of this is usually, you know, the email pal or the guy that they met on the dating app. And sometimes or maybe even like a wrong number that they started texting, and then they get a connection through that, and they eventually end up meeting in person. So this trope has been done in so many romance novels, regardless of if you actually see that part in the novel versus it just being like briefly explained before you get directly into them meeting up in real life. But with this show, you actually get to see it live and in person, and seeing that like awkward, cringy moments, like when Barnett says Diamond must work in a strip club because of her name, or the guy that was like, oh, Lauren, you must be a black woman because of the tone of your voice, or the I mean, those were problematic in so many other ways, but I'm trying to stick to just like romance tropes and not go too much into like the racial atrocities and stereotypes. So, and the same, you know, like when Jessica and Mark were talking, and Jessica's like, oh, well, I'm a Christian. And he was like, really? Me too. Like, those are those kind of like small interaction things that I feel like a lot of people overlook in real life. That is something that we try as romance writers to really infuse into our characters, because reading your story, a romance novel, is very much going into a love story blind. You might have some idea of what the person looks like based off of some general description, maybe maybe in the cover art, but you really, it's all in your head how this person looks. And so you connecting with the characters is the same as Love is Blind. And Love is Blind is these two people coming together and finding emotional ties without having ever seen each other. So it was, all right, I'm being like a lot about this, but but yeah, so I thought that was just like a really cute moment between the two before, you know, Messica started happening. But yeah, but on that same note, sometimes romance authors get this like, when we have to come up with like the conflict of how, okay, they fell in love, they got to know each other, they finally see each other, and maybe that causes some friction, maybe that doesn't. Maybe the friction is gonna come from the outside sources. And that's exactly what happened in Love is Blind. Some people, they finally saw each other and they're like, oh, I'm just not physically attracted to this person, you know? And regardless, they could have been, just great friends. But in the context of the show, it was like really pushing this whole love thing. Anyway, so there's okay, so here's like just some basic theme like romance tropes that I found in Love is Blind. One, love is blind. Two, friends to lovers, because they all started out finding this emotional companionship first before it got the physical romance of it. And and then you have like that whole, oh, they're not who I thought they were, especially with in terms of like Mark and Jessica, where she knew that she wasn't really feeling him like that, that it was that the age difference was something that she just really couldn't get over, and she just kind of like strung him along. And I mean, now that it's kind of come out that there was some other factors in there that made her stick around for the show, but either way, it just was really not a good look. And their whole story as like the precursor story to like the happily ever after that you see in like romances, where like the guy was hurt in the past or the girl was hurt in the past because they were so in love, and then they had somebody like Messica doing all these shenanigans, and eventually they find someone better. Or the like friends to lovers thing, or the exes to lovers that you see kind of with Giannina and Damien, where they had this grand love, but they were both not quite in the right place. And it took them time after the show to really make changes with both of themselves to really understand each other before they could come back together as a couple. And of course, there's your all-time favorite, like super sappy, sweet fairy tale love that is Lauren and Cameron. I watched the show basically just for them because they were just so cute and so adorable and so goofy and giddy and in love, and gives you all the feels. You have to be dead inside not to get the feels about Lauren and Cameron's story. They were cute together in the pods. They were cute together in Mexico. And even though towards the end it showed where they both kind of had questions and things that they knew that they needed to work on, it wasn't enough for them to disregard the feelings that they had for each other. And so they were the stars of the show. They are, still together and building this life of fairy tale love. And the reason why I say it's like modern fairy tale love is the simple fact that their story is so like fantastic. They beat all the odds. They met on a freaking TV dating show. They're an interracial couple. They, you know, have very different like personality types, and yet they still manage to make it work and still respect each other's differences and are willing to make whatever compromises were needed for things to work. And here we are 2 3 years after they originally got together during the filming of the show, and they're obviously still going strong, and you still get those butterfly and love feelings when you look at them on their Instagram, on their new YouTube channel, on their TikTok that they did where they were doing like throw it back, and they even had like the dog involved, and it was like super silly and just fun. And you can just tell that they just really work. And honestly, that's like a romance author's dream. Like, you want to write your book in a way that your characters give that same kind of lovey-dovey butterfly in the stomach, aw, kind of sentiment for your readers. And that's why I really just wanted to talk about this show a little bit. Um, and I guess I didn't do too many spoilers because, I mean, at this point, people should have already watched it. It's been a couple weeks since the reunion show came out. Love is Blind is just a really, really great show to watch, just in general, but also if you're an aspiring romance author, as you know, a study in real life fairy tales and real life failures in romance. So that's what I got. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm just rambling, but I'm hoping I'm making sense to y'all. If you haven't seen Love is Blind yet, definitely go watch it. Thank you so much for watching my random addition to the entertainment section of YouTube from a romance author's perspective. Peace, love, and happy writing. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and have a great day.